A reminder here of what our symbols are. So we've got this tilde symbol that tells me they're similar. And then we have the congruent symbol, which is a tilde on top of an equal sign. And just a reminder, all congruent triangles are similar and they have a zoom factor of 1. So that means they are the same shape, because similar figures are the same shape, and same size. Their side lengths will be equal to each other. Oops, not same side, same size. So let's talk about these shortcuts or these conditions for congruence. We're going to take notes on 2 conditions for congruence right now. The first one is side angle side congruence. So we looked at this, we had side angle side similarity as a similarity condition, and we saw that we can also use it as a congruence condition or shortcut. So when I talk about these, a lot of times I call them a shortcut instead of a condition. It's the same thing. I like calling them shortcuts. So side angle side congruence. If 2 triangles have 2 pairs of corresponding sides where the zoom factor is 1, so that means that the sides are equal, the pairs of sides are equal to each other, and the angles between them are congruent. So the angle has to be between the 2 sides. That's why the A is between the 2 S's in side angle side congruence or SAS congruence. Then we know the triangles are congruent. Here we have a diagram to show what I'm talking about. I like using highlighting to kind of match up my sides and my angles. So I'm going to do that. So I see that side length AB has a length of 8. So it is going to correspond with DE, which also has a length of 8. I see that the angle here is 70 degrees, so it's going to correspond with that angle, which is 70 degrees. So those are equal to each other, congruent angles. And then I have this side length AC, which is a length of 11. That's going to match up or correspond with this side length DF, which also has a length of 11. So now that I have everything matched up, I can see that I've got the 2 pairs of sides, which are equal. They have a zoom factor of 1. And the angle between them is equal. In this case, the angle is 70 degrees. So I'm going to write out those statements that I know. So I can say that side AB is congruent to side DE because they're both have a measure of 8. So there's one of my sides. Then I can say that angle A is congruent to angle D, because those are both 70 degrees, so those are congruent. So there's my angle. And then my second side, AC, is congruent to DF, because those both have a length of 11. So there is my side, angle, side shortcut or condition. And since the angle is between the 2 sides, I can do this. So now, when we were doing similar triangles, we would write a similarity statement. But these triangles aren't just similar, they're congruent. They're the same shape and the same size. So I'm going to write a congruence statement. And it's going to be just like we did with similarity statements. Instead of having the similarity symbol in between the triangles, we'll have the congruent symbol in between the triangles. But the important thing about your congruence statements, just like the similarity statements, is it tells you which angles correspond to each other, and then also which sides correspond to each other. And just like with your similarity statements, you can write your first triangle in whatever order you want, but the way you write that first triangle is going to dictate how you have to write the second triangle. So triangle ABC is congruent to triangle. All right, A was my 70-degree angle, so it's going to correspond with D, which is my 70-degree angle. So D is going to be my first letter since A was my first letter. B is at the end of the side length, that's 8. So it's going to correspond with E, which is also at the end of the side length of 8. And then C is at the end of 11. So it's going to correspond with F, which is at the end of 11. So that is my congruence statement. And again, the way your congruence statement is written tells you which angles pair up together, which angles are congruent to each other, and then also which sides. So this is what we call a congruence statement. So there is our first shortcut for congruence: side angle, side congruence. Kind of matches up with our side angle, side similarity, but this time the zoom factor is 1. So not only are they similar, they are also congruent. So our next one is side, side, side congruence. Side, side, side congruence is if two triangles have 3 pairs of corresponding sides where the zoom factor is 1. So that means each pair of sides is equal to each other. Then the triangles are congruent. Here's a diagram that kind of shows that. I've got triangle STU, and I have lengths for all 3 of those sides, and triangle XYZ, and I have lengths for all 3 of those sides. So let's kind of match these up and highlight them so we can see which sides correspond with each other. So I'm going to start with the smallest length, which is 31. So that one I'm highlighting in yellow, and it's going to match up with the smallest length in the other triangle, which is also 31. So they have the same zoom factor, or they have a zoom factor of 1 rather. They're equal to each other. Then my middle length is 40, and it's going to match up with the other middle length, which is 40. So those are equal to each other. I have a zoom factor of 1. And my biggest length is 42 and 42. Equal to each other. They have a zoom factor of 1. So let's write out those 3 facts that are given to us in our diagram. We'll start with the smallest side, SU. So SU is congruent to YZ. Those are both the side lengths that have 31. So there's one of my sides. That's my first S. Then I'm going to say ST is congruent to XZ. That's my second side. Notice I make my Z's with a little line through them so I don't confuse them with the letter 2. So if you're wondering why I have that Z like that, that's why. And my final one is UT. And that one is going to be congruent to XY. Those have a length of 42. So those are my 3 facts that satisfy the side, side, side congruence condition or shortcut. So now I can write my congruence statement. So again, I'm going to start by writing the first triangle in any order that I want. So I'm going to call it STU. And then I say that is congruent to, so I use the congruent symbol there, triangle. All right, S is between the 31 and the 40, so it's going to go with Z because that's between 31 and 40. So I will write Z first. T was written second. It's between the 40 and the 42, so it's going to correspond with X. And then U was written third. It's between the 31 and the 42, so it's going to correspond with Y. And there is my congruent statement for these 2 triangles, which I'm able to say is true because of side, side, side congruence. 3 pairs of corresponding sides that are equal. They have a zoom factor of 1. Then the triangles will be congruent.